Today we're going to do a brief overview on coupling and uncoupling. So we want to marry these two pieces of equipment together. So when you're doing that and you back up towards your trailer, in your West Coast mirrors, you want to make sure that you see even parts of the trailer as you're backing up. That way it ensures that your kingpin will go into the throat of the sliding fifth wheel as you're backing up slowly. So that's what you want to see. In this process as well, you also want to make sure that your trailer is at the right height prior to you backing up. That way it gets onto the fifth wheel assembly just fine. You notice that I may have to lower my landing gear just a little bit more. That way the trailer lowers and it slides onto the sliding fifth wheel. So we're going to just lower it some more. Okay guys, so the thing that we want to do is we want to ensure that this trailer is low enough, that way it slides onto the sliding fifth wheel just fine. Because what you don't want is to overtop your fifth wheel. So right now, we're at a good location. I'll probably lower it just a little bit more. Yep, we're good. Put it back in the cradle, and then now we're ready for us to back the tractor underneath the trailer. Okay, for this, we talked about our West Coast mirrors. We want to make sure that we see even parts of the trailer in our mirrors right and left as we're backing up. And you always want to back up slowly. Release our tractor brake. Put it in reverse. Hit our horn indicating that we're backing up. And simply back up slowly. You want the trailer, you want to feel it, kind of a tug. And as you're backing under, it's going to lift up. It's going to get on your sliding fifth wheel. You're going to back in and you're going to hear that click. Once you hear the click, you want to do a tug test. So you're going to put it in drive and just give it just a little tug to ensure that the locking jaws are firmly around the kingpin. Little tug. Yep, we're around the locking jaws are around the fifth wheel, the kingpin, and we're good. Please remember that one of the things that we want you to be safe here at night is to always use your gloves when you're doing a coupling and uncoupling procedure, okay? So here we are. We went ahead and came underneath the trailer utilizing the tractor. One thing that's going to be very important before you hook anything up is just simply take a look. The trailer should be on top of the sliding fifth wheel just like this. You should see no space between those two, and make sure that your fifth wheel is properly greased. So let's take a look. If you want to take a look, you can see that there's no space between the trailer apron and the sliding fifth wheel. So we're in a good position. So now we're just simply going to reattach our air lines and our electrical line. So what I like to do is start working my way from the outside of me back towards me. So here I'm going to do the blue line. Do my electrical line. Please make sure it's properly seated and the safety latch is in good working order. Red line. We're good. Everything's attached there. We've indicated that the locking, now we got to assure that the locking jaws are firmly around the kingpin. We did the tug test, but I always like to put eyes on it as well. So I'm going to crawl underneath the trailer and take a look. The locking jaws are firmly around the kingpin. There is no space. Now we just simply raise up the landing gear, and now we have successfully coupled. Please make sure you raise them all up. Please don't leave them partially the way down or partially the way up, because you never know, you could get high-sided on the freeway, some kind of railroad crossing grade, things of that nature. Once they're up, please make sure that you put the crank handle back in its cradle. One of the things you want to make sure of before you uncouple is that your landing gear is down. You want to take the crank handle out of the cradle, and then you want to crank the landing gear all the way down. Now for our particular instance here, this trailer is empty, so you don't want to get it too cranked down on the ground. One thing that you also want to be mindful of, both of your landing gear feet, make sure both sides are down. Sometimes you could have one that's up and one that's down. So you want to make sure and double check that they're both down. And then put the landing gear crank handle back in its case. Next thing you're going to want to do is, we already know that our brakes are set, our landing gear is down, So now we're just going to go ahead and unhook the air lines and the electrical line ready for the uncoupling process, and then we're going to release the locking jaws. Okay, now we're going to unleash the locking jaw. This one happens to be a manual release of the locking jaw. If you have the type of truck that has the button, just always make sure that the handle is out. Okay, great. What I like to do just to make sure that it's undone, I like to always crawl underneath and take a look and make sure that the locking jaws have been released. And they have been. And now we'll enter the truck, we'll start it up, and we'll uncouple. We know that our brakes are released, especially the trailer brake. We are in neutral. We're going to go ahead and release the tractor brake, put it in drive, and we're going to slowly come up from underneath the trailer. In this instance, you just want to make sure that you don't come all the way out. You can go ahead and put it back in neutral and set your brake. And then you want to go out and check to make sure that the landing gear is stable and that the trailer is fine for the remainder of the uncoupling process. You'll notice that the tractor has not fully come out from underneath the trailer. That's a safety feature just to make sure that the trailer landing gear will hold its own weight and it doesn't collapse or fall. Now we know that we can pull straight out and finish the uncoupling process. And now we can simply pull away from the trailer, release our tractor brake, put it in drive, and we can safely pull forward. And that's a safe uncoupling procedure.